Hello and welcome to Head and Shoulders, where we cover athletes, performances, and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. And you see the title here, Shaunae Miller-Uibo. We covering her, and we're going to cover a couple of things here because, look, quite frankly, I think people are doubting Shaunae Miller-Uibo. I think she has a real chance to win, just like anybody else here. And even though I do have highlight specials saying, hey, Shericka Jackson over Shaunae Miller-Uibo, we can't count her out. I mean, she's got the strength there, even though when she shows up at these championships, you look at her history and say, well, you know what? And I'm just going to show it here, right here. She gets a lot of seconds, thirds, and a couple of times she's got fourth. But really, that don't matter. She won an Olympic Games. She's defending champion in the 400 back from Rio. So we got to put some respect on her name by acknowledging that she has been good enough to win. And also, look, if depending on how I title this, I don't know how I'm going to title it, but one of the things is here, and I'm going to do a highlight special directly on this, but we got to acknowledge this. She was not happy that Nasser got to compete while she was going through an investigation through that. And and what I think is part of the reason why she wanted to switch over to the 200 and focus on that is because of this. Either that or she's thinking about doing a Michael Johnson double. And for those that don't know, Michael Johnson was able to double in the 200 and 400. Some people don't know their track history, so I'm just saying it out here now. He was able to win in the 200 and 400. And maybe she's trying to do the Michael Johnson double here. So I think maybe with the schedule of how it is, it doesn't seem like she would realistically be able to do it. But hey, it's still a chance to do it. So if her fitness is there all the way, even though she hasn't broken 22 seconds this year, I trust that her coach knows how to peak her out in the right time. I can't just go out of that. She knows how to compete. All right. So even if she only gets a silver and a gold, that's still a silver and a gold. And that's better than what a lot of other athletes can do themselves. Because some athletes might not get a medal and get nothing, or two silvers would be good. But with this being said, she had concerns over it. Now, you know that some athletes are a little bit more like they'll let your agent speak for them, because some people think that this article is over exaggerating, that she's furious. How do you feel if you were an athlete, that you were competing at the highest level, knowing that somebody else is going through an active investigation? They know that they left things on the table and whatnot. You're giving your heart out, blood, sweat, tears, injury. You're trying as hard as you can, and then somebody else gets to compete while they could have potentially been cheating to get to that level. Now, a lot of people think that all these athletes are doping, but hey, look, let's assume that they are, right, for a second. Well, if one person is going through an investigation, should they really be allowed to do that? When some athletes, all they simply are through an investigation and then they get banned, right? I think Christian Coleman was going through an investigation. He got to run or something like that. Some other athletes, they're not allowed to actually go through. And all they did was miss their third one. They're through an investigation and then they don't get to run at the Olympics or anything. This is telling me that because it took so long, she would have actually been able to run at the Olympics, and then they might have stripped the medals from her afterward, or who knows what the heck happened, because they didn't strip her medal from the World Championships. So they wouldn't have stripped her medal if she would have won gold or any medal at the Olympic Games. That's what I'm surmising here, because they did give her a 2-year ban, over 2-year ban for Nasser. So, or what is it, 2 championship ban? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there. But they did ban her, but they didn't take her medal away. So on the one hand, it's like a slap on the wrist, because if the Olympics would have went through as it should have in 2020, she would have been able to keep that medal in both of them. So Shaunae Miller-Uibo is like, yeah, forget that. I'm going to compete in the 200. So here we are right now covering Shaunae Miller-Uibo. And can we, for a second, acknowledge something real quick? Maybe we need to start calling her Model Weibo. I don't know. Somebody tell me something else. Maybe we got to call her Model Weibo, because she does go out there and she does model and does some stuff. Now, her sister is an out and out model, but maybe we got to call her that because she's got the height, she got the frame for it and everything like that. So she's out there and she's doing her thing. But also on the athletic field, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second. Shaunae Miller-Uibo, how she's going to come out and come away with a medal or gold. So I'm giving two different ways that she could come out here. One is actually winning. The other one is actually getting a medal. Because some people are down talking and saying she never gets a gold. I mean, Allison Felix is lauded as one of the greatest female athletes of all time. Yet, what she has one individual gold medal at the Olympics and like nothing else. So she gets most of her goals from the relays. When it comes to the Olympics, World Championships, she's got a couple more or whatever. But when it comes to just the Olympics, she's got a silver. She got silvers. She got golds on the relays. So if we put all of her stuff together, yeah, she has a few more from the World Championships. But I mean, I ain't about to just spit on somebody because, yeah, they haven't been able to capture gold at the World Championships. She's got a gold at the Olympics in the 400. So with that being said, let's look at her progression this year. So she's run a couple of 200s. Now, she ran this earlier in the season. And I'm actually quite surprised that she didn't come back with, you know, a faster time than this. This tells me that she ran, okay, if people see somebody peaking this early, because they had some choice words about Sha'Carri Richardson back in April, running that so fast as she did, right? But then we got a Shaunae Miller-Uibo that ran a 22:03. Yeah, let's just say she ran a 21:6. Would you change your mind and say, well, you know, she peaked too early and she didn't listen to her coach? Because we got one guy that was in the comment section, not to just go really ham on you, but there are a lot of similar ones. This one stands out the most, saying, hey, she peaked too early. She didn't listen to her coach. How do you know that the coach and her and the staff didn't know that this athlete can go faster later on, and they just put in the time? They put in the time early in the season. They train through things so that they do what they need to do, and then they come back at the championship running faster than that. There's a lot of different reasons why athletes and coaches elect and select to do what they do and to run certain times. They're trying to run times. Look at this. She ran a 49:08. Is anybody going to doubt that she has the ability to go back to 49:08 or faster when she knows how to peak at the championships and run a PR? I don't think anybody should be able to doubt that because she's shown that fitness before. Even here, she ran a 50.21 indoor. She did that indoor in February. So she's shown us that she's got some consistency right here at the 49 and 50 point. So I don't know where anybody should doubt her. But anyway, with that being said, Shaunae Miller-Uibo, what does she have to do in order to get a medal or the gold in the 200 and the 400? Over the 200, what she's got to do, she's going to have to, and I'm going to break this down athlete by athlete. We got Daphne Skippers. Is she going to be able to make, is she, actually, I'm not going to consider that because she hasn't been running that well in the 200. In the 100, she's a little bit better in. And I'm not sure if her team selected her. I got to look at that for her video that I'm going to do. So with Dina Asher-Smith, Asher-Smith knows how to peak. We know that she knows how to get the gold when it comes to the championship. She peaks at the right time. So many coaches and athletes would love to have somebody that peaks at the right time. She's going to come through fresh, just like Shaunae Miller-Uibo is. They got a little bit less races in both of their legs. If you look at the results here during the year, they didn't really have to run as much throughout the year. She did a little bit of indoor season, just like Shaunae Miller-Uibo, and she's coming through. Dina Asher-Smith is going to get a strong start, most likely in the final. She knows how to do these things. And what Shaunae Miller-Uibo has to do, we saw, because shelly-ann fraser-pryce ate her up on the weekend or 2 weeks ago, right? She ate her up in the race just recently, and then she faded a little bit. While Shaunae Miller-Uibo did a strong move with about 80 meters to go, and she chomped the ground and then passed up shelly-ann fraser-pryce. So she can be on the outside, which would presumably do her better because of her longer legs, and it's less tight of a curve. So we would say that Shaunae Miller-Uibo needs to be on the outside lane. But really, I think she can win or get a medal from almost any lane except for about lane 1. If she can get any other lane, I think she could still get a medal. But on the outside lanes, that's going to be her glory ground. So we're talking about 6, 7, 8, right? Shaunae Miller-Uibo gets out. She has somebody and she keeps her awareness. If somebody eats up on ground with her, she has to remain calm. That's all she has to do. Remain calm. Her biggest threat, in my opinion, as far as a similar profile, is going to be a Shericka Jackson and Dina Asher Smith, to be honest. Dina Asher Smith for a different reason. Depending on how this final goes, we all expect and say, well, you know, it's going to go 21-6, 21-5. That's not how they work all the time. Sometimes the prelims and semis could take more out of the athletes because they got to run hard. They're trying to position for a lane so that they're trying to purposely run a certain time so they can get the lane that they want. That's what these athletes could be doing in the semis. So in this case, we might see a faster than normal semi because this 200 is stacked. And then the final isn't run as fast. And in this case, with a slightly slower than what we expect final, and Dina Asher Smith being able to peak at the right time, she might run that 21-8 low or 21-7 mid, right? Shaunae Miller-Uibo has to remain aware of where Dina Asher Smith is, and then Shericka Jackson. Shericka Jackson can go faster than a 1077, even after those rounds. She can go faster than 1077. She can go faster than what she ran in the 200 right here, which she eased up. As soon as she passed Elaine Thompson, she kind of eased up there. She might have made a move to see if she could pass Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and then thought, whatever, it's not worth it. 21-82. That's like playing possum. The same thing that I think Shaunae Miller-Uibo is doing. Shaunae Miller-Uibo is capable of going faster than what she's seen, what we've seen of her this year. She doesn't need to go any faster. She doesn't need to go any faster. So with that being said, I think she's in, if anything, 21-8 shape right now. Probably will be in 21-7 by the time the championships come around. If she can keep even with Shericka Jackson, she has to be a little bit ahead of her, in my opinion. She doesn't have the same closing ability. Actually, seeing what she did in the last race, she does. But I don't think that at a faster speed, she's going to have the same closing ability that Shericka Jackson has, because Shericka Jackson's coming with a faster speed base. You guys get what I'm saying here? Shaunae Miller-Uibo is going to have to come up and be even and slightly ahead of Shericka Jackson. Otherwise, she can close on the Dina Asher Smith. She's going to get out fast. Ta Lou, she ain't got anything to worry about. If she doesn't have to worry about Fraser-Pryce, she ain't got to worry about Ta Lou, which is a slower version of Fraser-Pryce, quite frankly. And Gabby Thomas, that's just going to be the dark horse for me right now. I don't really know how to place her because she could either do really well, because it's the first time she's ever run this hot, right? And she's going on momentum. So with that momentum, that can cover through, but it's a whole month later. So the momentum might have died down. It'll be one thing if it was a meet or two later. I wish she would have just done that other race, because then that would have potentially carried her momentum there. Or it could have just stunted. There's an athlete momentum mentally, and then there's a physical momentum. Mentally, she has the momentum there. But physically, will she be able to carry that over month? Let's see. But Shaunae Miller-Uibo, I think she has the ability to win. If at worst case scenario, I really think that she can get a bronze in this year, where Jackson, Fraser-Pryce, Dina Asher Smith, those are the ones that could be fighting through with it. And then Miller-Uibo somewhere in that mix. Thompson-Herah, she's going to do what she does. We don't know who we're going to see with Elaine Thompson-Herah at all. We don't know. She might be the mighty Thompson-Herah, or she might be the Achilles heel plagued or mentally stunted Thompson-Herah, just quite frankly. Not the women's 100. We're going to go to the 400. Now, let's analyze the 400 and her chances here. If she runs through with the 400, she's got the second fastest time of the year. She'll be the fastest athlete in the field, and by almost a half a second plus. So going against Stephanie Ann McPherson, seeing both of their races, Shaunae Miller-Uibo, and then seeing that she PR'd, McLeod coming up with several PRs. She ain't got nothing to worry about with Allison Felix, to be honest. She doesn't need to fall or dive at the line or anything like that. Shaunae Miller-Uibo needs to remain concentrated on her race and her race alone. She can't be distracted by the rest of the field, because she knows that she has one of the fastest times in history to go off of. And if she can peak and PR again, boom, she's got it. She can be the defending champion, which would be amazing for her to go back-to-back 2 Olympics in a row to get that. I would personally like to see her drop out of the 200 to focus on the 400. But if she's going to go for both, I think that she can. Now, if she falls off and some of her fitness isn't there, I think that she's good enough for a silver medal. And I think she would lose to McPherson and be ahead of either Hayes or Felix as the next athlete in line. Now, if Jamaica can go 2 athletes in a row, this is another thing. If Jamaica goes 2 athletes in a row in the 400, the women's 4x4 is going to be a very interesting thing, because people keep saying, oh, USA has 4x4. But do you see these athletes for Jamaica right here? And if McLeod's on a bigger path, I'm going to break down the 4x4 and say, hey, look, it's not a clear path for the US just to automatically get the 4x4. Yeah, they can put athletes from the 400 hurdles in. They could put Athing Mo in there. They could do those things. But I don't think it's going to be a clear out, hey, the USA got it on the women's side this year. You guys let me know if you agree or disagree. But I think Shaunae Miller-Uibo, she just has to run her race and stay focused. And remember that she's on the top for a reason, and that she can get there again. So 200, she's going to have it. I would rather prefer to see her drop out than to jeopardize her winning the 400 meter dash, because I think it's a shoe-in for her to get the 400. I don't think she's got a problem at all. You guys let me know if you agree or disagree. And if you want to see animated races, definitely consider becoming a member. Leave a comment below saying, hey, I want to be a member. I'll drop you a link for that membership so we can have these animated fantasy races where we are racing athletes from different eras, different genders, different disciplines based on their stats that they give forward. So, for example, Shaunae Miller-Uibo could go against somebody like a Jeremy Warner, and we match them up. We equalize them for gender, so we have it where it's it's like as if they're both running male times, and if they're both running female times, and then we're going to run the race at different types of things. So it could be a regular meet and it could be a championship meet, and then we'll see that. And that's going to be based on their stats, based on their rankings in their own gender, and based on other things. So we're not going to say, oh, just because a Jeremy Warner is faster here means he's going to be faster than Shaunae Miller-Uibo if it were equalized. That's not how those things work. So with that being said, guys, let me know if you're interested in that. We'll catch you on the next video. Peace.